Hey everybody, Jay Kimmelman here. I'm with the Digital CPA, and I've been seeing a lot of questions out there about work from home, remote working, and how to operate your accounting firm in this day of COVID-19. So I thought I'd just go live real quick with our tech stack, see if there are any questions. And this is like one of many lives we're going to do this week to help you through this and help you get moving to being a remote worker. Now, I know I've saw some of the comments out there that some people's firms will not allow them to do that. And actually, at that point, there's a lot of questions you got to start thinking and that are going through your head, because it's so easy to run a cloud firm today. And I highly recommend it. I've been doing this in the cloud since 2012, and we had found Xero way back then and made that move to the cloud, and cannot say how much it has made a change in our life. And I had been a teleworker back in the 90s, dialing into a mainframe to do reporting and things like that. And it is such a different world today because everything is at our fingertips. We use cloud technology and it's in the browser. It makes it so much easier. So if I can get my assistant over there to change our screen and put up our tech stack, just want to talk about the things that we're using today as the core of what we use. So on the screen, you can see at the top is Xero. That is the #1 accounting app that we use. And if you know me, I'm a Xero ambassador. I talk Xero all day long, and I wouldn't do that if it wasn't the best small business platform out there. We had used Intuit products in the past, and I just cringe every time I have to touch it. So that is my little spiel on that, but not selling Xero today, talking cloud and work from home, remote working. And so want to go through our stack, and that's what I'm going to show here. And that stack, it starts with Xero as the core. Below that, you see the green Xero logo. That is Xero Practice Manager. We use that as our practice tool to know what jobs we have and what we're working on. And you all know that HubDoc is now owned by Xero, but even before that, it was integral in our bookkeeping services. So even more so today for document collection and automation and making us much more efficient. So along those lines, you will also see there HubSpot, which is our CRM and sales tool. We were using Infusionsoft in the past and had a pretty slick, very low connection and manual intervention system for obtaining leads, and we're actually rebuilding a lot of that now that we've made the switch to HubSpot. But we'll talk about some of the tools that we're using later on right after this. And you'll notice the other one right below that is Practice Ignition. We could not do what we do today without having Practice Ignition at the front end to have our engagement letters signed, create our invoices and our bills, and sync all of that into Xero and Xero Practice Manager. Those are highly important to us because it makes us so much more efficient. I would say it eliminates about 30% of the workload of a person to do that and allows us to do so much more. And the other thing on the bottom of that is Zoom, which I feel is the most important tool we use because we hold all of our meetings on there. We have that connected to HubSpot, so as soon as somebody sets up a meeting, we have that Zoom set up. We talk to all of our prospects, we talk to all of our clients, and it's just like you're there with them, and it adds that face-to-face element to it. So if we can jump to the next screen there, we can look at the other tools that we use. And so for payroll, we have Gusto. We use Box for document storage. Loom, off to the side there, is really important because that allows us to build on-demand videos to send to our clients that we can use during the sales process. We use it during ongoing engagements if there's a question on how-tos, things along that nature. We have LastPass in there. We find that most invaluable because that is where we store all of our passwords. And our passwords are kept encrypted. We have that with multi-factor authentication. So we know that our passwords are safe and nobody can access that information. Our communication, other than email, and you can see that we do use G Suite. So a valid platform to use is G Suite or Office 365. We chose G Suite way back when we started in 2012 because at the time it was so much more advanced in the cloud than Office 365. Microsoft has taken that product so far. And you can see we use Slack as our internal team communication. We also use that with some clients, and we have that attached to a lot of different apps, so we get notifications and we can do some work within Slack. Microsoft Office 365 also has Teams, which I don't use it, but I know others that swear by it and say it's an awesome tool. We're looking at dual homing and using both G Suite and Office 365 because a lot of the newer tools are being built on that Office 365, Azure, and SharePoint structure. So it's really, really important for me to know how that works so I can advise others as well. And internally, we do use Trello for some project management, and we use that for some communications that are things that are outside of the day-to-day jobs, which are done in Zero Practice Manager. And I'm just trying to get in here into Facebook so I can see it. I'm trying to go to the page here and see if there are any comments out there or questions. So you'll see in the center of that screen, there is a Zapier Experts logo. So that is the glue that holds all these apps together for us. So whether it's one of these apps that we use on a day-to-day basis or an app that is just out there that we need to connect to one of our tools, Zapier allows us to do that with relative ease. And I am a Zapier expert. I have jumped into that way back when and truly love Zapier for how easy it is to connect apps together. So with that, I just wanted to go through the stack that we actively use and what is not on the screen, and you can go ahead and move that back to my talking head. So one thing that's not on there are some platforms that we used to use, and that includes what I was saying earlier, Infusionsoft, Acuity Scheduling, Zendesk. That was part of the older platform that we used, and it still works really well. I just wanted to move off into a single platform to make that look a little bit better and function a little bit better for y'all. So with that, we talked about what we use, what we used to use, but what's also important is those firms that aren't using these apps today. So it's really important to be able to access your systems when you're not in the office. And I would assume most firms are using VPN technology and they're connecting remotely to their systems through VPN. But it's really important to have enough bandwidth on your VPN to be able to support the users outside of the office and to be able to make those connections so that you can access those apps internally. So as we go through the week, we're going to be doing more of these, and we'll hit up on much more information along those lines so that we can actually help you make that transition from the in-office worker to the work-from-home worker to that having that remote workforce. So with that, I am going to close this out. Ask if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in this thread, but we will be pushing out more of these over the week and look forward to taking your questions. So thank you so much.